Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Send us those emails and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. But again, this is Freeform Radio. My name is Daniel. With me today is Andy.
It's all good, man. We're back in Adam, and another exciting show, man.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. This one's a little special because I didn't really even tell Andy the article, so we're going to see how that goes. But to start it off, let's start off with your week, Andy. You wanted to discuss Rush Limbaugh cancer. I didn't even know he had cancer until this morning. I was just Googling the State of the Union address and see if there was anything like hot on it because I didn't really watch it. And I saw something about Rush had cancer as well as that lady from 90210.
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, I guess she came out that she has stage 4 cancer as well. But what's the deal with Rush, man? I didn't even know he had cancer.
Yeah, he, I have a lot of, most of our listeners know me and you, we have somewhat of same ideas, but I'm a big, I have a lot of conservative views, and early on, growing in my mid to late 20s, I did listen to a lot of Rush Limbaugh, and
on a radio or podcast?
On the radio, yeah. I know he had a TV show when I was growing up, but I was just a kid. I didn't know. I know there's some fat white guy and talking on TV on our local Fox affiliate here. But with all being said, like I said, he does have some conservative views. He had bigger, stronger conservative views, or more right wing when he 30 years ago. He's been on the air for like 30 years. But when I read yesterday that it came out yesterday morning, that it started circulating on some of the conservative blogs and websites that I read, that he had stage 4 lung cancer. I was like, man, that kind of sucks. And you haven't really seen him make a lot of public appearances the last couple of years. And the State of the Union address last night with President Trump, they wheeled him out there. Now, man, he aged like a lot, and I was kind of shocked to see him in such a state, because I remember him as a younger, fatter man. Even I used to listen to his show a lot when I was younger, in my mid-20s, and when he lost all the weight, he would talk about his, he didn't talk about it, but he talked about how he changed his eating habits, and that's how he dropped all the weight. There's all these rumors and stuff.
So you say he hasn't been in the public eye, so is he still doing a radio show?
No,
podcast?
He still does this radio show. He doesn't do like live.
Okay.
Well, as I didn't follow him as much as I do now. I know once in a while, like a couple of years ago, he would pop up on Fox News to do some commentary. And then I know a while back, I don't know, recently, he was doing like video broadcasting from a show. And then last night, you see him on TV, gets the medal, to the medal that any U.S. civilian or anybody that the government can offer to a civilian. He got it, and he had these 2 big hearing aids. I was like, because when I was listening to him back in the day, he was always complaining how he couldn't hear, or he was losing his hearing, and he had hearing aids on both of his ears. And what ended up happening, because he used to criticize, that's the big, people say he's racist and all this. I don't think he's racist, but he used to critique and shit on people that were addicted to drugs or alcoholics. He was very tough on them, and like he would call those people weak and so forth. He was very harsh to those people. And the whole time when this was going on, he was losing his hearing. Well, we came out. He went to rehab because he was addicted to opioids or Oxycontin.
Oxycontin, that's right.
And then one of the reasons one of the side effects of OxyContin is when you
You
is
can't
loss
get
of
it up no
hearing.
more.
Maybe I don't know. I don't I didn't follow him that much, but I know he one of the side effects is loss of hearing, and so to see that, and every once in a while I would tune in. He kind of lessens his stance. I know he was a big Trump supporter. Um, I think that's one of the reasons he got elected. When he got behind him, he nobody
So
believed he was going to win, but he got he gave him a vote of confidence, and I think he's one of the reasons Trump got in.
so you were kind of dancing around a little bit about the racist part. I don't know much about him. Do you think he's racist, or maybe at a younger age he did
No,
have that kind of tendency,
I
but not no more?
when I heard him, it's just the same shit that Trump says now, but he didn't say like uh, was he anti-immigrant? Allegedly, I don't know, but he had a big nationalistic view. If you come to this country, which a lot of people is like, come here legally. He wasn't. He was staunch against illegal immigration, and so
Well, I don't think that's racist.
I mean, it's
To
a lot of people view that as racism. I mean, it's
I don't think so. I mean, the law is not to speed. So if you get caught speeding, you don't go like, "Hey, man, that's
that's racial profiling.
yeah." No, it's you're speeding, so you're doing
But
something illegal that you're not
uh,
supposed to be doing, and there's nothing wrong with
yeah,
being against the laws.
that's what I'm saying. It's he. I mean, it is what it is. But to me, in the conservative, he's a conservative icon, and to hear that he has stage 4 cancer and to get the medal last night, it kind of sucks because I knew people who died of cancer, and then also Shannon Doherty has cancer. I mean, these people are from our youth. I remember, they take me back to a time, especially Shannon Doherty. But I'm talking about Rush. Whatever your views are, I mean, it sucks. He has lung cancer, and then one of the things I want to talk to it, like people on Twitter were just being like dicks. You know how people on social media are, especially on Twitter. They were lambasting him and like saying that good riddance. Some people with the blue check marks were saying like, uh, fuck Limbaugh, fuck cancer, not because cancer sucks, it's because you waited 30 years to give it to him and shit like that. I mean, like, it was some harsh stuff, man. And I was just like, somebody like Rush, I mean, whatever he was, he had his opinions, and it just sucks for him. And hopefully he could beat it, man. But it sounds to me like what I saw last night, I was kind of discouraged, and I mean, hopefully, prayers out to him and he could come out of it.
Yeah, I think just in general, social media, it's a lot of people that are, part in the uh, maybe the crew talk, but there's a lot of pieces of shit out there, man.
Yeah, I
There's
wouldn't wish cancer on nobody, man. I
no,
mean,
no. But to be
that's
honest, Andy, if there is circumstances happening to somebody falls and bust their ass, everybody
that's
tends to
funny.
laugh. Everybody
Yeah,
tends to laugh, and it's funny. So this is just in that realm as well, and people see it as okay to kind of make fun of this guy, and because they're not somebody that's
because he has
close
strong
to them.
opinions. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's not
that they
somebody that
don't
they're
agree with.
right. So it's okay that he falls on his ass, and people laugh and say, "Yeah, go ahead. Good thing you fell." XYZ, whatever it is. So it's just a culture that we're in now, and I just think it's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
I try not to watch videos like that. I try not to see things where somebody is in a bad situation and people laughing at these other people. I try not to stay away from that stuff because I think it's a lot of bad karma and a lot of bad vibes sent out into the world. And unfortunately, things like this happen all the time where people just shit on the other person, even though they're down and going through a rough time. So, yeah, it's
I
kind of
mean,
tough
what
to
is
see.
what it is. We're still humans, and whatever views you have, I mean, to you know to cheer for him getting sick. I mean, that's not cool. But I just want to say, like, I listen to Rush. We might not have a lot of the views, but some of the stuff made sense to me. And some of it doesn't, like anything. It just it's kind of it sucks to hear that, but let's change the subject up a little bit. One of the reasons I knew that OxyContin caused hearing loss was because of Jason Mewes and Silent Bob. I used to listen to their podcast a lot, but I recently watched their Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Danny. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. I bought the Blu-ray. That's right, I bought physical media. Don't tell my wife. She sees these padded envelopes come. She goes, "There better not be another DVD." Technically, it wasn't. It was a Blu-ray. So I watched it. It is what it is. I thought it might be a little bit better, but it's fucking Jay and Silent Bob. I wasn't expecting an Oscar masterpiece here. I recommend it. It's obviously, if you know those characters in View Askew movies and Kevin Smith movies, it's right up your alley. But I don't think the average person who's never watched any of those type of movies or know those characters is not gonna enjoy it or not get the jokes. But
so you're recommending it for Jay and Silent Bob fans,
Kevin Smith fans,
Kevin Smith, yeah. But if you're not really in that circle, then you might not enjoy this one.
You will not. I mean, I'm watching it, and there's like a shit ton of inside jokes. My wife watched like a minute or two, like, I don't get into this, and she leaves, and I'm like, oh shit, it's fucking so and so. Oh shit, it's Dante, and and it is needless to say, it is
cameo after cameo.
Yeah, it's a lot of cameos. I don't want to give too much. It gets a little. They get a little preachy, a couple times.
Like Dogma preachy?
No, they start talking about like pushing diversity. Nothing gets me more upset when certain people start talking about diversity, and I'm just like, when it gets pushed down your throat, like, I get it, man. It's all be friendly. We're all equals, but shit, when it gets pushed down your throat, it gets a little like nauseating. Like, enough with this, man. We get it, no matter what race, creed, sexual orientation, gender, whatever, we're all human beings. But it gets a little preachy like that a couple times. But the cameos are awesome. The story, it is what it is. There's a beginning, middle, and then it wraps up. But it was, I recommend it. I mean, I don't know if you got questions about it, Danny, or have you seen it? I mean, it's a nice little nostalgic thing for me, because it brought me back to the fucking 90s.
Right. Yeah. I myself, I enjoy Kevin Smith and his movies. There are very few of them that I was just like, ugh, I don't know about this one. The Moose Jaw one, I forget what the name of that one was, where they're in Canada.
Jaw. Yoga Hosers?
Yoga Hoser, that one.
With the girls, right?
Yeah, that one I didn't really care for too much. I didn't think it was that very well done. But even the Walrus one I thought was pretty cool.
Tusk. Yeah, they make fun of that movie a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was okay and funny. It wasn't some great comedy or anything.
Did you ever see his movie Red State, where he makes he has a
Goodman?
No, yeah, with John Goodman, Red
State.
Right,
yeah, that's a really
preachy, but yeah,
I think that's a good movie.
It's like, to me, I feel like he tried to make like a serious movie.
Right. It's not so much of a comedy; it's more serious.
Yeah. And I have it. I watched it a couple times, and I mean, he makes a serious attempt as directing, and I believe he wrote it too. But to go from that, like, I think that movie is great, and he directed Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and I feel like he regressed. He makes his jokes about himself, how he'll suck cock and all this shit, Kevin Smith. But he's like doing the convention, how he does podcasts for the conventions and all this in the movie. So there's a lot of inside jokes. I recommend it if you're a fan of, like I said, Kevin Smith, but there's a lot of inside jokes, man. And Jay is fucking Jay and Silent Bob and the. I mean, I'll spoil it. Ben Affleck makes an appearance just for that scene was worth it because the falling out or whatever they had Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck and like fucking Kevin Smith like literally cried about how he missed Ben because they were like BFFs for like a long fucking time.
Right. I remember that time, the Bennifer talk, because
Yeah, with
Ben
him and
Affleck and
J-Lo
Jennifer,
and the
they were like
Jersey Girl.
inseparable,
Yeah,
and they were just like always next to each other. They nicknamed them Bennifer.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like Kevin Smith, say what you want about him, but he's an open book, man. There's nothing that he won't talk about. There is no story that he won't share for his podcast. I mean, him and the Bruce Willis story, like look that up. I mean, he makes fun of. I don't know. You remember when he was fat or he's thin now? With the whole Southwest when he got kicked out of the plane. I don't know if you recall about that. They make fun of that in the movie. And he's like, it's like I said, there's a lot of inside jokes, and to me, it's that's why I said that's what I loved about it. But to the average person, you watch this movie, they're gonna be like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't get it. I don't get these jokes, and they're not. I feel like they're not gonna fucking fall in love with it because. The first movie that I watched that made me, I mean, I'm gonna say I fell in love with Kevin Smith was Mallrats. That's the first movie I ever watched of Kevin Smith when I had cable because it was on I think Cinemax, and they would show this movie over and over, and I just fucking watched it, and I thought it was hilarious. And then I found out he made Clerks, and I watched Clerks with one of our friends, Dave, at his house, and I was laughing my ass off. And then that's when I'm like, I gotta watch his movies, with like Dogma, and he did the stupid MTV commercials, and he was big into like comic books and stuff. And like from there on, I'm like, I'll watch anything Kevin Smith makes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I like watching his stuff, but I just haven't had a chance to watch this reboot yet.
Well, I highly recommend it, Danny. I know you'll get it. You're older than me, so I don't know.
Yeah, not by much, man.
So, with that said, I've watched Jay and Silent Bob. I see here that you finished watching. Let's go with this one, Mandalorian, because I watched Mandalorian, and maybe we could go spoiler heavy here, Danny. What do you think? I see you got a lot of binge watch a lot of this shows recently, but let's start with Mandalorian. I mean, did you fall in love with Baby Yoda like the rest of America, the world did?
Not so much. I mean, to me,
Say
I
what?
I got it for what it was. Mandalorian, and in particular the Baby Yoda stuff. It was just a new way for them to come out with a new toy that they can sell.
How dare
Uh,
you, sir? They didn't even have toys for. That's how hot he got. They didn't expect them to be hot, and they're barely cranking out the toys for Baby Yoda.
right. I remember when he first showed up on the first episode. I don't recall if it was the first episode, but the first episode that
Second.
he appeared, they Disney was talking about how they will never make a toy of this character, that it's so sacred and whatever. And then once they saw the popularity and the memes and all the people talking about it, then you saw all these toys start cranking out, and they're like, yeah, this toy is going to come out, and then this toy is going to come out, and then this toy. And I'm just like, yeah, that's what it was going to be from the start. They just didn't anticipate it to be as hot as it was. But getting back to the Mandalorian, I actually enjoyed the show. I thought it was pretty good. The only episode that I thought was kind of, not that great was actually the last one. I thought it went really
The
quick.
ending?
Not just the ending, the episode itself. I thought it was really typical TV shows nowadays, or some movies where it's too much. It's like a 4 or 3 hour episode crammed into one episode, and it's like, we got to wrap all this shit up. So boom, boom, boom. We have all these obstacles. It seem insurmountable. And then all of a sudden we just bust out guns and pa, start killing everybody. All right, we're out of that. Oh shit. Yoda might happen this. Let's go get him. you just jump on a speeder, find them, and grab them, and you're like, all right, now I got them. Oh shit, now we got to do this, and it's just like those are things that usually happen in a span of 2 episodes. They like stretch it out and have a story arc that goes throughout. And to me, it was just like too fast, too rapid thing, too many things that needed to get wrapped up, and not all of it needed to get wrapped up. Especially since Mandalorian is going to be back, they're going to have a season 2, so wrap up 1 or 2 of the points and leave the rest, cliffhangers. What's going to happen? Is Apollo Creed, is he going to be bad? Is he going to be good? Leave these things kind of like leave them for like what's going to happen. You don't have to wrap everything up.
So I forgot how many episodes was this one? Was it 9 or 10?
I want to say it was 10, but I don't quite recall. Nowadays, 8 and 10 episode series are more and more popular.
It's the new normal. That's what I was going to say. So today I read they announced that Mandalorian season 2 is going to come out October 2020, and it says only going to be 8 episodes. And I'm like, I thought the first season was 10. That's what I read. I don't know. It was through something on Twitter. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. And I was kind of shocked. It's only 8 episodes, but I was reading a lot of the Disney Plus shows are going to be like 6 to 8 episodes. Maybe one is going to be 10. So I don't know. I guess that's the new normal.
I like that. I don't need them to be 30 episode plus anymore like they used to. 8 episodes, one big story arc, little stories contained in each episode. I'm fine with that. To me, that's totally reasonable. But what did you think about the show?
I mean, when I got Disney Plus, that was one of the first things I wanted to see. But I wanted to do the whole binge. My wife loved it. I mean, I liked it too. I thought Baby Yoda was the shit. The Mandalorians, the bounty hunters. I didn't know there were so fucking many of them. And it's funny how they have this code, and the Mexican Mandalorian breaks the code or whatever because he asked about Baby Yoda. So, I mean, the thing I didn't get was the last episode. So, like, the Empire is, like, supposedly they're defeated, but they're, like, mercenaries now, or they're, like, warlords or whatever. And the guy at the end comes out with that weird lightsaber axe or whatever there was, or sword. I really don't know what that's about. I didn't really research it, but I just know the guy from Breaking Bad's the bad guy.
Yeah, it's like a saber sword. It does have like a backstory. I think it actually started in the video game canon story, then from there, even Darth Maul or Darth Maul's clan, like that race of people, had it for a while. And it even shows up in the Clone Wars, the cartoon thing.
Yeah, somebody was talking about Clone Wars. I saw on Twitter about that sword or whatever it was.
Right, it shows up there. So it does have a story. It's not a lightsaber. It's a sword that has some, dark properties or whatever. But, yeah, I like Mandalorian. I mean, I know I was kind of shitting on that last episode, but otherwise, I thought the story was cool. It was cool to see one of the comedians that I follow, Bill Burr, in one of the episodes. I thought that was
Billy Two Fucking Guns, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun.
Zingers in space, huh?
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was a good show. It was well paced for the most part. I know some people said that some episodes were kind of slow, but you can't have action packed episodes all the time. Sometimes you have to have story building, so that's fine.
The episode I had the most problem was the village one, where the Mandalorian could have been fucking, but he's like, I gotta go. And I'm going to leave Baby Yoda here, but he backed out because there was a tracker, and then the at comes, and that episode was weird to me.
I thought that was a pretty good episode, just because you didn't know it was going to be an at until the very end. So just to hear the sounds, and is this some kind of beast? Is this what is this? What's all these noises? And it was it kind of gave me like a feeling like of Jaws, where you didn't see the shark until the very end, and it gave you like that kind of suspense and feeling. And so I kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, Mandalorian, I think it's a definitely watch for any kind of Star Wars fan out
Right.
there, especially if you have Disney Plus. Definitely give a watch. But something else that I finished watching, like you mentioned, and I've been watching a lot of TV. We finished watching The Witcher. Now I don't know how much of The Witcher you know, but it's a Polish writer wrote these books about The Witcher and his lore, and it's actually a video game as well. Witcher 1 and 2 came out for Microsoft,
Uh-huh.
Xbox, and then Witcher 3 was one of the first Witcher games that came out for PlayStation. So I actually played it on PlayStation, and I really dug it, man. I thought it was a very excellent video game. But getting to the TV show, I thought it was just as well made. Um, with Superman, Cavill, or I forget the guy's name, that guy. I thought he played it very well. A little more muscular than I kind of pictured. Uh, the Witcher character, I forget now his name, was spacing out. Um, but I thought he played it very well. I thought he had the look face wise, but a little more muscular than I thought the character should be. But very good, man. Have you seen The Witcher?
I when I switched to Disney Plus and Hulu, I canceled my Netflix, and that's when they started showing the commercials for The Witcher. I'm like, fuck, that looks good. So I was gonna ask you. If, I mean, I was like, I gotta ask Danny if he saw it. Now you see, and I just knew there were books. I didn't know anything about the character or anything. I just saw the trailers and I'm like, I want to see this. And then I'm like, yeah, it's fucking Superman and some fantasy shit. So I'm like, I gotta check this out. So maybe if I switch phone plans in the next year, I might be able to get Netflix as part of my deal and I can start watching it.
Yeah, the character's name is Geralt, and it's a very cool story. I mean, if you like Game of Thrones style stories, kind of mythical beasts and stuff like that, it's very well put together. And it's sort of like The Mandalorian. It's got this overall story arc that kind of connects all the episodes, but then there's like these self-contained episodes inside of there. So I think it's very well put together. I didn't think my wife was gonna like it, but she really dug it. She really dug it so much that she's, thirsty for more. She wants more of it. But I heard it's actually not coming out until 2021. So we're gonna get a whole year without it because it ended late last year. So it's gonna be a whole year without it, and it's not gonna come out until sometime next year.
Man,
But
Netflix needs to jump on that shit and get that made, man.
right, I did hear something to the fact of that the writers and the producers they want the follow up to be done right, so they don't want to just kind of crank out episodes for the sake of just getting on board of the hotness that it is, because people really liked it and they want to see more. So what they're going to do in between, supposedly this year, they're going to release an anime of it where it kind of delves into the backstory of Geralt's mentor. I forget his name. And supposedly the talks are that Luke Skywalker is going to play the mentor for Geralt,
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, that he's supposedly up for the running for playing that character. But since it's an anime, they haven't really released too much information about voice casting and who's going to play the character, because at the end of The Witcher, they kind of make hints that the mentor of Geralt will show up. So they haven't really announced anything, but it's really exciting for people who like that type of story. I really recommend it. Go out and check it out. I think it's a great show that people could really follow along, especially now that Game of Thrones is gone.
Now, is it like the violence and like sex? Is it graphic? Is it PG-13, rated R? I mean, do they curse? I mean, what's if you say Game of Thrones, I'm thinking like there's fucking, there's cursing and a lot of blood.
Now, when towards the end, I stopped watching Game of Thrones, so I can only speak to the first couple seasons. But comparing it to Game of Thrones as far as swearing, sex, and the violence, I gotta say a lot of that is toned down a little bit. So there's
Shame.
There's still
Shame.
there's still sex scenes, but they're not as in your face, titties hanging out everywhere. They're still swearing, but a lot of it is more damn shit. You know, they're not dropping f bombs left and right. And for the violence, there is combat and violence and blood and gore, but it's not too much human versus human. It's more like werewolves and witches and other stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of that. I mean, there is human to human combat because there is like a civil war going on in the background, so that is still up front as far as that goes. But I think it's very well done. Not something you can watch with your kid. I believe it's rated R. I'm not really sure about that,
TV mature.
but yeah, I think it's more for mature audiences. But yeah, kind of jumping on to the last one here, Andy. Like I mentioned, watching a lot of TV. Also watched the Chernobyl series from HBO, and that TV show was also very excellent, very well put together. Did you have a chance to watch that, or did you even check that
I
out?
watched the trailer come out. I remember this coming out a while back. And I was like, when I first saw it, like, I thought they were doing like a documentary, but then I'm like, they made a fucking TV show about Chernobyl. And me and Noel kind of talked about how they stopped the leak or whatever the fuck was going on. It threw like this big fucking melted steel on this hole or some shit. But yeah, I mean, I know of it. I know it's the anniversary was this past year. I forgot. I mean, but 35 year plus anniversary or something. So I know of the thing, but I didn't. I know of the show, but I never watched it. All I saw was a trailer. So is it good or what?
I think it's very I guess from talking about these three, I would say The Witcher is probably first, and it's kind of tough because these three shows I think are pretty good, all of them. But if I had to put them in order, I would say probably The Witcher number one, Chernobyl two, and then Mandalorian third.
Damn, man.
And not to say Mandalorian's a bad show at all. All three of these were very good. I was real fortunate to get good shows multiple in a row. But Chernobyl is awesome, man. It's a very good show. It shows, kind of dramatized events of the Chernobyl disaster of the nuclear power plant. Most of it for the most part factual. I've seen some like YouTube videos about how factual correct is this TV show, and they do kind of exaggerate in a few aspects, but not very many. For the most part, what you see is actually what it happened. They speed up the timeline a little bit as far as the TV show goes, but otherwise, it stays pretty much true to true events and things that actually happen in real life. So in that aspect, I thought it was very compelling and a very good show to watch. If you're interested in kind of docu-dramas, this is definitely something that's very cool to watch, especially because, like you, Andy, I was familiar with Chernobyl before I watched this, but I didn't really know much about it. I kind of just knew about it, that there was a nuclear disaster, people had to leave in a hurry, and there's now just a left town that's abandoned and nobody can go back because of the nuclear exposure to the environment. So that was about as much as I kind of knew about it. And watching this, it kind of, brought a lot more light and kind of educated you a little bit as far as what happened. So I'm not sure if you're into that. I know you like documentaries, but this is definitely a cool one to watch.
I mean, yeah, I love these type of shows. Real quick, it won 4 Emmys.
Tons of awards, yeah.
Yeah, so I got one for limited series, one for writing, one for directing, and one for production design. So it's an award-winning show. I mean, HBO does generally pretty good shows, and it's a limited series. So, I mean, I got to check it out. I just don't know. Some of that stuff sometimes depresses me because it's fucked up. And like you said, the other thing is like accuracy. How accurate is this? Because I love real life miniseries. of actual events. I mean, I like
Right.
that shit because you get more. They take liberties with the shows or the miniseries to actual life, but it's sped up and you get a conclusion, or you get somebody to blame. Someone always fucks up in these things, or someone who says we got to do this, nobody does shit, and shit happens. I don't know if they do that in Chernobyl or not.
No, there's definitely the bad guy characters, and whether it's exaggerated so you can kind of really hate this guy and really think, yeah, this guy's an asshole. Um, there is that aspect of this, so definitely a much watch. Andy, I would probably recommend it to you most because I know you like documentaries, and very well put show.
Docu-series.
Won multiple awards, so very well put together. But guys, let's jump into our article of the week. Like I mentioned, didn't really speak to Andy about it, so this is a new thing that we're gonna try here, and we'll see how it goes. But here we go into our article of the week. So, like I mentioned, didn't really speak about this article that I was gonna pick out.
Scared
Andy,
everybody.
yeah, Andy texted
Might get
me.
set up here.
He's like, "Hey, man, find an article for us to discuss on the podcast today because we kind of had to change gears really quick." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a look and see what I could find, and I'll text you the link like I usually do." But I figured, you know what? I'm not going to text Andy this link. I'm just going to prop it up to him at the time that we're recording and see how it goes. And Andy, since you are the aforementioned expert in wrestling, I decided it's time to challenge that wrestling knowledge of yours, Andy, and give you a little pop quiz here, man. I found a website that has multiple questions as far as wrestling knowledge and things that happen in the wrestling world.
I'm a lock, man. This is easy.
And so now
nervous for nothing.
It's time to test your knowledge and see how good it is. Now, I kind of breezed through a couple of these, and some of these I had no idea. And I'm like, maybe Andy will know like some mid-south questions, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell this answer is. So so we'll see. We'll jump into this. First ones are kind of easy, or at least when I read them, they were kind of easy. In June of 1996, two wrestlers known as the Outsiders began terrorizing WCW television program. The Outsiders were laying the foundations for the formation of the NWO. Which two wrestlers were known as the Outsiders?
Well, this is a trick question. So, in WCW, they were known as Scott Hahn, Kevin Nash, and in WWF, they were formerly known as Razor Ramon and Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Yeah, I thought that was
like get double bonus points.
That was like a softball throw, man. That to me was like a super easy one. I remember when this happened, man. Do you recall seeing this on TV, Andy?
Oh man, this is. I mean, I grew up watching '80s wrestling, and I mean it was different. I was a child, and then when I watched this wrestling as an adult, and I saw this, I'm like, oh man, this shit's real. Like there was this blurred line. It was real or fake, but yeah, I do remember that, and I remember I'm like, oh shit, the way he came out and stuff. Like he's like, why? Y'all know why we're here. This is the big boys play. Well, we're gonna find out. And I was like, oh shit, this is some real shit going on here,
Yeah, I thought it was a great time of wrestling. Definitely go back. Any of you guys with the WWE Network, you got to see some of that old 1996 stuff. Some great wrestling. But let's keep moving, Andy. Next question. What event did Ric Flair defend his Intercontinental Championship against Hunter Hearst Helmsley?
What pay-per-view?
Yeah, what events?
Ooh.
So I'm assuming it's a pay-per-view. Yeah, it is a pay-per-view. Happened in 2005.
Okay, so it's isn't like an early 90s one or late 90s.
Just a guess. I couldn't get this one either.
I think it's Royal Rumble.
Taboo Tuesday, man. I don't even remember a Tuesday on a wrestling on a Tuesday night.
They just talked about that in one of the podcasts, I think, with Pritchard.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because they were like, "Why you do a pay-per-view on Tuesday?" And it goes, "I don't know." Vince just said, "God damn it, let's just do it. It's taboo."
Maybe that's how they came up with it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like nobody has This pay-per-view's on Tuesday. We did it once. Let's do it again. God damn it. Taboo Tuesday. And they're like, okay, whatever you want, Vince.
Man, everybody has the Vince McMahon.
Bruce Pritchard's the best at it.
Yeah, where he impersonates him. That's great, man. I love watching it.
He's like, why the fuck not? God damn it.
And then what about that other guy, the McDonald's guy?
Oh, Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette, yeah.
Double cheese, motherfucker. Yeah, Cornette. Bruce Pritchard does it awesome. Like, and the Paul Heyman, that guy he just do a fucking show on just wrestling fucking voices in like. I know it's fucking hilarious. I highly recommend the Bruce Pritchard podcast with the Conway or whatever.
I gotta say, like the earlier episodes are the best. Some of these later ones, now that he's joined back to WWE, I think it's kind of watered down a little bit. Yeah. But a lot of the early episodes, oh man, some great podcasting for sure. So let's get on to this next question. Who did Rob Van Dam defeat for his first Intercontinental Champion title?
Fuck, that is hard.
The two met WrestleMania 18 in Toronto and WrestleMania 28. And the match was held in 2002.
Intercontinental, Rob Van Dam.
Again, everybody.
Is this world title or Intercontinental?
It says Intercontinental here.
Well, I know he beat Cena for the World Championship. Fuck, who did he play? Who did he fight? Give me a second here. I'm not searching the phone.
I think so, man. I think you're searching the internet.
I'm gonna say John Cena.
William Regal.
Ah, man.
Yeah, hit him with the frog splash, and got the pin to win against William Regal. All right, this is something more current. Who defeated Big E on the 2014 Judgment Day pay-per-view to win the Intercontinental Champion?
Man, I'm sucking. I know Big E. Was it I
got bad news for you.
Oh, the British guy?
I think this is him. Wade Barrett?
Yeah, Wade Barrett. I got bad news for you.
Yeah, Wade Barrett.
Barrett Barrage or some stupid gimmick before he fucking left.
Yeah, they kept changing his gimmick around. But I like that when he had the bad news thing. I thought that was kind of cool and funny. Thinking
up the joint here, man. 2 in a row I haven't gotten.
All right, let's go to the next one. I think this one's pretty easy. Which four-time Intercontinental Champion was a member of the 2014 Hall of Fame?
Honky Tonk Man?
Razor Ramon, man. He was inducted along with Lita and the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, man, I'm getting nervous here. I'm going to...
Yeah, man.
You're the trashed on social media here.
You're the self-appointed expert of wrestling, so I think this...
It's because I didn't get time to study, and I didn't get a fucking questionnaire or a study.
You told me you had a plaque on the wall saying that you were the expert of wrestling. Next time, I'm going to get a quiz on logistics, and then we'll test that plaque out too, man.
It's because wrestling kind of sucks right now. So
it does.
And I do have WWE Network, so in the I thought we were gonna talk like 90s and 80s wrestling, man. This recent shit is kind of like, oh man, my mind's all joggled right now.
All right, here's an older one here. Why did the Intercontinental? This is kind of hard, man. I don't know why you would know it, but the question is, why did the Intercontinental title match between Jeff Jarrett and Chyna almost not take place? And the answer is, you know this one?
All right. Yeah, because Jeff Jarrett held up Vince McMahon for more money. He wanted more money, right?
Right. His contract was about to expire, and so he would not have faulted by not having the match, but because it was so close to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, he held up
contract debut.
Jeff Jarrett, who got into the Hall of Fame, talks about he didn't ask for more money. He goes, he asked for the money that was owed to him. But if you talk to everybody else, they're like, he goes, I'm leaving. I don't have a deal with you. If you want me to lose to this to China, I need this much. And like Vince paid him, and then he's like, that's why he was like, he wasn't let back for a long fucking time. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
what I hear all the podcast about.
yeah, he was kind of out of the WWE after that for a real long time, and they wouldn't even speak about him.
Yeah, dude, it was a bad character. I mean, even when he's in WCW after that, he kind of sucked. All right,
All right.
man, I'm back on the streak here.
All right. One of the toughest and most rugged wrestlers of his era was, without a doubt, Double A, Arn Anderson. Perhaps this grittiness is what caused him to be a valuable member of so many stables and factions. Which of the following groups did Arn never be a part of? The Four Horsemen, the Heenan family, the Dangerous Alliance, or the First Family?
He wasn't part of the First Family.
That's right, man. He wasn't part of the First Family. Double A, man. I know you were a big fan, right?
Yeah, man. You know, he gets a podcast with Conway, but the Dangerous Alliance was with Stunny Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, and Zabisco, managed by Heyman and the Heenan family. He was part of the tag team with Tully Blanchard with Brainbusters, and everybody knows the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
The First Family, I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't even know. I never heard of that in wrestling.
I don't know if it's a made-up thing for this questionnaire. It didn't sound familiar to me either, but I kind of figured you would know that since you're a big Double A fan. Who did Pat Patterson lose the WWF Intercontinental title to?
Is that Pedro Morales?
No mention of Pedro here. It says Ken Patera.
Patera? Shit. Yeah, I know that one. I mean, I know the wrestler. He was an Olympian. He was like the first Olympian to wrestle for WWF. The world's strongest man. He did jail time for a while.
Jesus. When I saw this name, it didn't ring a bell to me. I don't even know what this guy looks like. It says April 1980, so maybe I wasn't a super fan at that time. But I know Patterson, he was like the longest reigning Intercontinental, right? Or next to Honky Tonk?
Yeah, he was the first one.
Oh, the first one, right? The longest is Honky Tonk, right?
Honky Tonk or Santino Marella, I think for a while he had the Honky Tonk meter because he was getting close to beating that record. He might have. I really don't recall. I know he was close. They made fun of it for a while, and it just stopped.
All right, Andy. I think this is an easy one. Should be a layup for you. The Fabulous Freebirds were a successful 3-member faction formed in World Class Championship Wrestling in 1979. Which of the following members were not founding members of the Fabulous Freebird?
That's easy.
Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, Buddy Jack Roberts, or Kerry the Modern Day Warrior Von Erich?
The Von Erich, he wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that'd be easy.
There's 2 versions of the Freebird, those, and then he made one with Jimmy Jam Garvin and WCW, but by then they were old as fuck.
And dude, I was listening to a Freebirds podcast or more about Michael Hayes, and I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was like the manager for the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, remember he came out with the Team Extreme, and then
I don't remember any.
He's like, I gotta hook my wagon to these guys, doop doop doop, and he came out with the muscle shirt and all that shit and a cane. Remember that?
No, man, I don't remember that at all. And I heard it on a
picture. Didn't last too long. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it on a picture thing, and the Hardys ended up breaking away from them because he started getting like over the top, like, yeah, brother, we're gonna do this, and this, and the Hardys were just like, what the hell's going on, man? We gotta get out of here.
Yeah. He was when he left WCW, became the Doc Hendricks, and then he was like an announcer, and then he was working backstage, and then one day the Hardys came out, and he came out with them, and it was like, what the fuck is Doc Hendricks coming out with the Hardys? And it was like, it was fucking weird. It was just weird.
All right, Andy, this is a deep one. Mike George was the first co-founder of the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Who was his partner?
That one's a little rough. I'm going to just take a guess. Junkyard Dog?
Bobby Sweeten.
Nah, that one's rough.
Yeah, that
I
one.
mean, I watch some Mid-South, but I'm not like crazy about it. Whatever they have on the network, I've watched some of it.
Yeah, this one here, I'm not really sure either. Wrestling was an integral part of ITV's schedule of the world of sports. Which presenter is ideally associated with the coverage? Ken Watson. I never
I
heard
was
of
gonna
that.
say Big Daddy, but that's a wrestler. I didn't know he wasn't a presenter. Damn, man, what the fuck? I'm losing my ass off here.
Which two former WWE champions formed the team known as the Power Trip?
The Power Trip.
Yeah, these are kind of modern wrestlers here.
And what organization does it say?
The WWE champions. Which two former WWE champions? Oh, and which they were in WWE at the time, or WWF.
Power Trip. Power Trip. Can you
2001.
give me the name of one?
Steve Austin.
What?
2001.
I give up, man.
Triple H and Steve Austin
Dude, I do not remember that.
originally formed the Power Trip in 2001 to demolish The Rock, which they did successfully and went over to capture the WWF Tag Team Champions. However, the team were disbanded after Triple H tore his quad muscle.
Oh my god. That sounds awful.
Yeah, I think it was probably short-lived.
The Power Trip. Hey guys, I got an idea. We're gonna put you together. We're gonna call you the Power Trip. God damn, that's gonna sound awesome. Imagine the shirts.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I'm starting to feel bad because people are like, you guys fucking listen to, you guys are wrestling fans. Power Trip. What the fuck's going on here?
Originally known as the Playboy, this arrogant manager rose to prominence in the 1970s in the Florida territories. In the early 1980s, he became the main heel manager for Fritz von Erich in WCCW. Who was this man?
Playboy. God damn it! It's a bald guy. Hold on, don't say it.
Come on, Andy. Yeah, these are too old, man. To me, I have no idea.
No, I see his fucking face. He was bald. He managed Kabuki. Hart, right? Playboy Hart? No. Fuck, what's his name?
Gary Hart.
Gary Hart, yeah, it's Gary Hart. Yeah, give me that one, man.
I think you searched Google on that one.
No. He wrote a book, dude. He managed a lot.
It looks like he managed a lot of people. Yeah, Bob Orton Jr., Dick Slater.
I know him from the WCCW, the World Class days, because he always had problems with the Von Erichs. He managed
Gino Hernandez, One Man Gang, Dusty Rhodes. So there's a bunch of stuff he was with. All right, here. A popular gimmick in the 1980s was to take two young, handsome, athletic wrestlers and pair them as a duo. In 1983, the legendary Bill Watts paired two youngsters as a tag team who would that had some great success in that decade. Who was this team?
Give me a name of one.
Tommy Rogers.
Tommy Rogers, Wildfire, and I don't know that one, man.
Who's and Bobby Fulton, the Fantastics.
Beautiful Bobby. No.
That's what it says.
Fantastics.
That's what it says.
I remember them from from World Class. One of them spoke Spanish. Damn, I feel old. No, yeah, I knew the Fantastics, but I don't know. I didn't know they started in Mid-South.
From the mid-1980s right through the mid-1990s, this man was a popular loser in the NWA WCW. He proudly wore the colors of his nation on the trunks and actually had a small fan base in the early years. Who was this man who took his moniker after a famous fiction character?
Oh man, I don't know. This is tough.
The wrestler, well, you tell me the moniker, but his name was Gary Sabach, or Sabaugh.
I don't know. Who is it?
the Italian Stallion.
What the fuck? I'd never heard of that guy.
Here's another Mid-South one.
Man, the Mid-South we gotta get away from here.
All right, we'll skip that one since we're kind of running out of time a little bit here. Man, that one's kind of rough for even me. I don't know that one either. All right, this one you might know. These two bizarre men came to the WWF in the late 1979s and instantly struck fear into the hearts of the opponents and fans alike. Ruthless and vicious inside the ring, they rarely spoke and seemed to improvise to pain at times, or imprevious to pain. What team was this?
The Head Shrinkers?
Afa and Saka?
Yeah, man, the Head Shrinkers.
Well, here it says the Wild Samoans. The Wild Samoans.
Yeah. It's the Samoan SWAT team, Head Shrinkers. It's all the same names, the same people. Man, I got that one right, man.
Defeated Ivan Putski and Tito Santana for their first of 3 WWF tag teams.
Yeah, I know those guys. I'm taking that one, man. I'm giving myself the point. I'm keeping score over here.
Oh, you're keeping score good because I'm not. All right, a couple more here. This wrestler was the youngest son of a legendary Mexican wrestler and promoter. After some initial success in ECW and WCW, he arrived in the WWF in January of 2000, where he became a superstar. Who was this wrestler who died in November 2005 at the age of 38 of heart failure?
Eddie Guerrero, man.
Eddie Guerrero, yeah, man. Gordy Guerrero's kid.
Light Sheet Steel, man. Mamacita.
Yeah, came out with Chavo for a while as Los Guerreros.
Yeah, I mean, him and his brother did announcing in WCW and wrestled there too, Los Guerreros. So, yeah, I mean, that one's easy.
Yeah, I miss him, and I thought he was an excellent wrestler and a great throwback to those WCW days when the NWO was getting hot.
And he had the LW, the Latino World Order,
right?
And he went through some drug issues. He smartened up and straightened himself out, and he became more popular than ever. He main evented, WrestleMania. I mean, he came a long fucking way if you really think about it. And he went through some trials and tribulations, and he got his shit together, and he rose all the way to the top. He died too young.
Right. Yeah, he came with a group of guys from WCW, right? Dean
Malenko, Benoit, and Perry Saturn.
Yeah, what was the group? The
Radicals? The Radicals. They called them in WWE the Radicals.
Yeah, the Radicals. All right. The father is easily one of the most successful and popular wrestlers of all time. He held the WWE heavyweight title twice. His first run lasted an incredible 7.5 years. The lone highlight for his son was wrestling Brutus the Barber Beefcake in the very first WrestleMania in March of 1985. Who is this father and son duo?
Bruno Sammartino and his kid, right?
Yeah, Bruno and David Sammartino.
Yeah, he had the strap for a long time. The dad, anyway, Bruno. Bruno is uno.
All right. Initially a heel, after a face turn, this mammoth man became one of the most beloved wrestlers of 1960 and the 1970s WWF. From the 1980s right until 1997, he was a popular color commentary and then WWE president. He died in 1999 at the age of 62 from complications of diabetes. Who was he?
It's Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah, the Monsoon, man. Get into the Monsoon position or Gorilla position.
The Gorilla position, yeah. Will you stop? You used to tell that to Heenan when he was announcing. See, that's the guy I grew up watching on Superstars and all that shit.
Well, I grew up watching him as an announcer. I don't really recall too much of his wrestling.
Yeah, his son was a referee that died, and then he died. Yeah, I when I growing up, all I knew about him that he was the announcer, but I didn't know that he was a wrestler. I never really watched any of his matches, but I know he was highly respected.
Yeah, it does say his son Joe died in 1994, a WWE referee.
Yep. So we got right now we're at 19 questions, Danny. So, and I think we should go one more in this, or let's go a couple more and to see if I could even this out a little.
All right, here. This one's a pretty hard one. Let's get that record a little lower. Just because I'm hating over here, Andy. I thought this was gonna go a lot worse than it is, man. It looks like you do know. It looks like you do know a little bit of wrestling.
I'm the self-proclaimed freeform radio expert in wrestling. Don't forget.
I know. Brother Bret and Owen Hart both were professional wrestlers who trained in the Hart family dungeon and eventually worked in the WWF. During this time in WWE, Bret and Owen wrestled both as opponents and as a team. At which WWE pay-per-view event did Bret and Owen not work as a team? Shit. Come on, guess that one, Andy.
Well, there's a lot of them. I mean,
I guess they're talking about when they did not work as a team against each other. I can't believe there's just one. Like you mentioned, I would figure there'd be like 10, but I guess at least this questionnaire says there's only one.
Does it tell you what year?
1994. So just take a guess, and we'll go to the next one.
I want to say WrestleMania.
SummerSlam.
I'm like, it has to be one of the big four.
Right. In the summer of 1985, Jim Cornette brought his legendary duo, the Midnight Express, to the NWA. By the spring of 1987, Mama Cornette, who was never seen, had identified Dennis Cordley as the weak link, which veteran tag team grappler took his place in Bobby Eaton's partner.
Oh, man, Sweet Stan Lane, man.
Stan Lee, damn, Andy.
That's easy.
That's right. All right, let's do like one or two more here.
Let's do two more to kind of even it out. We can't keep these fans in suspense.
All right, let's do this one here. Let's see what you know about 1978 wrestling. In April of 1978, Ric Flair started a feud with Blackjack Mulligan. Jesus, what a name. During one of the Mulligans match, Flair came to the ringside area and destroyed a special cowboy hat belonging to Mulligan. How did Blackjack Mulligan get revenge on Ric Flair?
Do you know Blackjack Mulligan? Yeah, his great grandson is Bray Wyatt.
Oh, and okay.
His son is IRS.
Oh shit.
So, I don't know. Did he break his arm or something? Cut his hair? I'm gonna say he's cut his hair.
Destroyed one of Ric Flair's robes.
Ah,
man, this last one's a softball, man. But I'll give it to you since I gave you a couple of hard ones. Last question. Who ended Honky Tonk's record long intercontinental reign at 1988's SummerSlam?
It's the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that's right. All right, last one, man. Tiebreaker.
All right.
Many family and father and sons have held the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship, but who was the first?
The NWA title?
The NWA U.S. Heavyweight Champion, but who was the first? Many father and sons have held.
The Rhodes? Dusty? The Rhodes? The Dusty and Dustin?
1975, Johnny and Greg Valentine.
Oh, the Valentines?
Yeah, man. Greg Valentine,
yeah. Yeah. So out of 24, I went 11 and 13. 11 right, 13 wrong.
Oh, not bad, man. A lot of these are hard, man.
Yeah, there's the 80s is my area, but there's a couple I might know. But Yeah, the Mid South, that's a little rough. I watched a handful of some of that shit, you know.
So everybody out there, if you guys liked it, there's 930 questions on this website. So that was just a few. We could do this again.
Yeah, let
if you
us
guys
know. We'll
liked it.
do pop quizzes. This is what we have to do when we're under the gun. But I like to be challenged, and then maybe next time we'll do something better. Or we'll come up with something a little better. But
I think
welcome
I
any
was
challenge. Y'all send me fucking pop quizzes. I'll fucking take that challenge.
to be honest, Andy, I thought you were gonna suck a lot worse, man. I've kind of got to give you a little bit of props. Maybe not the expert of wrestling, but you're definitely very knowledgeable.
Well, I'm the expert on freeform radio. That's how I'm claiming. Maybe I could be an expert on someone else's network, but on freeform radio on freeform network, I'm the resident expert. Like Noel's the resident UFC expert. So I don't know. We gotta find some expertise for you, Danny. I don't know. You gotta work on that one, man.
I'll try to get something by the next episode.
But yeah, we got a next episode, guys. So we gotta get out of here. So we want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Send your questions, suggestions, quizzes. What are your thoughts on what just went down? Am I the expert? Am I not? I welcome all challenges. Send whatever all your requests are to ffnquestions@gmail.com. You could check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There, we're on all the platforms. They all have links. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, iTunes, Overcast, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google. I mean, we're on everything. I can't keep up with it, but all the links are there. So make sure whatever your platform you're listening to, subscribe, share it, tweet it out, hit the like button. We need your help, people. We want to make this year our best ever. So for Freeform Radio, we have Danny.
What you gonna do when I come for you? Or
there you go. You almost had it, man.
Something like that. I guess that's why you're the expert, Andy.
I'm the expert. So what you gonna do, brother? Mean Gene, hold the fucking mic up. But this is it's all good, Andy here, and we wanna thank you guys for listening, and we'll check you out next time. And thank you. Have a good week, guys.
That was cool, Dad.